I've loved you forever, Miles, Lila Jackson whispers, her lips brushing the comatose billionaires in a trembling, desperate kiss. Her heart pounds, tears stinging as she clings to the boy from Englewood streets, now a titan silenced by a brutal crash. Dr. Lila Jackson, a Chicago doctor forged in hardship, faces a truth that shatters everything. Miles Thornton's accident was no accident, but a deadly betrayal by those closest to him. Her love, her fight, turns a city's shadows into hope, building a legacy that defies greed and hate. This saga of courage and redemption will grip your soul. Subscribe to catch every pulse-pounding moment and share in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Lila's kiss sparked a revolution. Stick around to see how it changes everything. The emergency room doors at Mercy General in Chicago slam open, wheels screeching as paramedics rush in a gurney. Dr. Lila Jackson, 28, her dark eyes sharp with focus, barks orders to her team. Her scrubs cling to her sweat-dampened skin, the weight of her stethoscope grounding her. She's a black doctor from Englewood, clawing her way up from nothing, and tonight's chaos is her battlefield. Male 32, car crash, unresponsive, a paramedic shouts. Lila's hands move fast, checking vitals, her mind racing through protocols. Then she freezes. The patient's face, scarred but familiar, rips her back to childhood. Miles Thornton, her Miles, the boy who shared her dreams under Englewood streetlights, now a billionaire, lies lifeless before her. Her heart lurches, but she shoves it down, barking, "Intubate him, now!" Before she can process, a woman storms in, heels clicking like gunfire. Serena Caldwell, Miles's fiancée, all sharp cheekbones and designer silk, glares at Lila. "You!" Serena's voice cuts like a blade. "Step away from him! You're not touching my fiancé!" Lila's jaw tightens, her fingers gripping the chart. "I'm his doctor," she says, voice steady despite the sting. Serena scoffs, her eyes raking over Lila's scrubs. "Doctor? From what? Some ghetto clinic? You're not fit to wipe his shoes." The room falls silent, nurses exchanging glances. Serena's words, laced with venom, hit Lila like a punch, echoing every doubt she's fought since leaving Englewood's cracked sidewalks. "This is Mercy General," Lila snaps back. "Not your penthouse. I'm saving his life." Serena steps closer, her perfume choking the air. "You're nothing but a charity case playing dress up. Back off or I'll have your job." Her voice drips with privilege, each syllable a reminder of Lila's place in a world that sees her as less. The team hesitates, unsure, but Lila holds her ground, her pulse hammering. "You don't get to decide who saves him," she says, her tone ice cold. Serena's lips curl into a sneer. "Oh, I do. He's mine." She leans in, her breath hot on Lila's face. "Stay in your lane, Englewood trash." The insult lands like a slap, and Lila's teeth grind so hard her jaw aches. She wants to scream, to shove Serena back, but Miles's monitor beeps erratically, pulling her focus. "Get out," Lila says, her voice low, lethal. "You're in my way." Serena laughs, sharp and cruel, but turns to leave, tossing over her shoulder. "You'll regret this." The doors swing shut behind her, leaving Lila trembling, her fists clenched. The nurses avoid her eyes, but she feels their judgment, their whispers about the uppity black doctor who dared talk back. Lila's chest burns, not just from Serena's words, but from the truth they carry. Miles, her childhood anchor, is now a world apart, claimed by a woman who'd rather see him dead than lose control. She glances at Miles, his face pale under the fluorescent lights, tubes snaking from his arms. Her fingers brush the charm necklace he gave her at 12, a cheap trinket she's worn ever since. "You're still in there, aren't you?" she mutters, her voice cracking. The weight of Serena's attack lingers, but Lila's resolve hardens. She's not just fighting for Miles' life. She's fighting for the girl she used to be, the one who believed they could conquer the world together. The monitor's steady beep pulls her back. She checks Miles' chart, her hands moving on instinct, but something gnaws at her, a flicker of doubt about the crash. Why was Serena so quick to control the room? Lila's eyes narrow, her mind racing. She's not done with this fight, not by a long shot. Lila Jackson stands frozen in the sterile hum of Mercy General's ICU, Serena's venomous words, "Inglewood trash," still searing her ears. Her fists clench, nails biting into her palms as the sting of humiliation threatens to choke her. The nurses' sidelong glances burn, their silence louder than any insult. But Lila's not breaking. Not here, not now. She's clawed her way from Inglewood's cracked streets to become a doctor, and no trust fund princess will strip that away. Her eyes lock on Miles Thornton, lying still on the hospital bed, his billionaire polish stripped away by tubes and bandages. He's her Miles, the boy who shared her comic books and dreams, now fighting for life. Her resolve hardens like steel. She steps closer, her sneakers silent on the floor, and checks Miles' vitals with steady hands. The monitor beeps, a faint lifeline, but his face, scarred, pale, tugs her back to a summer night in Inglewood. They were 12, sprawled on a park bench, stars flickering above. Miles had slipped the charm necklace into her hand, his shy grin brighter than the Chicago skyline. "For my best friend," he'd said, and her heart had stuttered, too scared to admit she wanted more. Now that same heart aches, caught between duty and a love she's buried for years. Her fingers graze the necklace under her scrubs, its weight grounding her. The room empties, nurses slipping out, leaving Lila alone with Miles. Serena's gone, her perfume lingering like a taunt. But Lila's focus narrows to the man before her. She adjusts his IV, her movements precise, but her breath hitches. Memories flood in. Miles chasing her through Englewood's alleys, his laughter echoing, their late-night talks about escaping poverty, her to save lives, him to build empires. She'd loved him even then, but fear of their worlds, her rundown duplex, his gated mansion, kept her silent. Now he's here, unreachable, and her chest tightens, her teeth grinding to hold back tears. "You don't deserve this, Miles," she says, her voice low, raw. She leans closer, her hand brushing his wrist, warm but lifeless. The monitors hum, indifferent, but Lila's not. She's fought too hard, lost too much, to let Serena's cruelty or Miles' silence break her. Her gaze traces his face, those sharp cheekbones softened in sleep, the scar from a childhood fall they'd laughed off together. Her heart pounds, a reckless urge rising. She glances at the door, empty, quiet, then bends down, her lips trembling as they brush his in a soft, desperate kiss. The touch is electric, a confession she's never dared speak. "I've loved you since we were kids," she whispers against his mouth, her voice breaking. "Come back to me, Miles." She pulls back, her cheeks burning, her pulse a drum in her ears. The kiss was a risk, a crack in her armor, but she doesn't regret it. It's a vow to save him, to fight for him, no matter what Serena or the world throws at her. Lila straightens, wiping her eyes with a fierce swipe, and grabs Miles's chart. Her doctor's instincts kick in, but Serena's words echo, gnawing at her. Why was she so desperate to push Lila away? The chart's pages blur under her gaze, but a single line catches her eye. Suspicious circumstances. Her stomach twists, the words like a cold blade. She tucks the chart under her arm, her jaw set. Serena's not just a bully, she's hiding something. Lila's not just a doctor now. She's a warrior, and this fight's just begun. The ICU door creaks, a nurse's shadow flickering outside. Lila's grip on the chart tightens, her heart racing with a new fire. Serena Caldwell strides through the hospital parking lot, her heels stabbing the asphalt, her designer coat flapping like a warning flag. Her pulse hammers. Lila's defiance. "You don't get to decide who saves him," burning in her mind. She'd meant to crush the doctor, to shove her back into Englewood's shadows, but Lila's steel-eyed glare lingers, a splinter under her skin. Serena's fingers tighten around her phone, her manicured nails clicking against the screen. She's not just fighting for Miles' empire. She's fighting to keep her secrets buried. But the air feels heavier now, her confidence cracking like thin ice. She ducks into her sleek black SUV, the leather seat cold against her skin. Her breath catches as she overhears two orderlies near the hospital entrance, their voices low but sharp. "Cops said the brakes on Thornton's car were tampered with," one mutters. "Not an accident." Serena's stomach lurches, her grip on the steering wheel whitening her knuckles. Her plan was flawless. Hire a mechanic, stage the crash, and claim Miles's company before their engagement sealed her stake. But now whispers of sabotage are creeping through Mercy General, and Lila's too close presence feels like a noose tightening. Serena's jaw clenches, her teeth grinding as she fumbles for her phone. A text from an unknown number glows on the screen. Brakes handled. Next move? Her heart slams against her ribs, guilt clawing at her. She'd paid for silence, but someone's talking. She deletes the message, her fingers trembling, but the words sear into her mind. Did she miss something? Was the mechanic sloppy? Or worse, is Lila sniffing around? Serena's eyes dart to the hospital's glass doors, half expecting to see the doctor's silhouette. She'd dismissed Lila as a nobody, a black woman from the wrong side of Chicago, but that kiss, Lila's lips on Miles, a reckless act Serena didn't see but senses in her gut, changes everything. Lila's not just a threat, she's a wildfire. Serena's chest burns, a mix of rage and fear. She'd humiliated Lila, but it wasn't enough. She needs her gone, now. Inside the ICU, Lila stands by Miles' bed, her hands steady despite the storm in her chest. Serena's insults, "Ghetto clinic, doctor," cut deep, but that kiss, that fleeting press of her lips to Miles, anchors her. She'd poured her heart into it, a confession she'd held since they were kids racing through Englewood's alleys. Now her fingers trace the charm necklace under her scrubs, its weight a reminder of promises unspoken. She flips through Miles' chart, her doctor's instincts overriding her emotions. Her eyes catch a scribbled note buried in the margins. Unexplained bruising on torso, non-consistent with crash impact. Her breath hitches, her pulse racing. Bruising? From what? A fight? A struggle before the crash? Her mind flashes to Serena's frantic control, her rush to push Lila out. This wasn't just an accident. Lila's gaze snaps to Miles, his face still under the harsh hospital lights. "What happened to you?" she mutters, her voice low, fierce. The chart trembles in her hands as she scans it again, the words "suspicious circumstances" from the police report echoing in her head. Her teeth grind, her resolve hardening. Serena's hiding something, and Lila's not letting it slide. She tucks the chart under her arm, her eyes narrowing. She's no longer just saving Miles's life. She's hunting the truth. Outside, a security guard's radio crackles, too low for Lila to hear, but Serena's SUV peels out of the lot, her hands shaking as she dials a number she swore she'd never call again. Lila Jackson's sneakers squeak against the linoleum as she strides into Englewood's free clinic, her white coat slung over her shoulder, the charm necklace from Miles Thornton heavy against her chest. Serena's venom, ghetto clinic doctor, still stings, but Lila's not crumbling. She's a warrior, forged in Chicago's toughest streets, and this clinic, a cramped storefront with flickering lights, is her fortress. Her jaw clenches, her fingers brushing the necklace, a relic from the boy now lying comatose in Mercy General. She'd kissed his lips, poured her heart into that reckless act, and now Serena's schemes, those tampered brakes, that bruising, fuel her fire. Lila's not just a doctor, she's Miles's last line of defense. She drops her bag, her pulse steady despite the chaos in her mind. A young mother clutching a coughing toddler looks up from the waiting area. "Dr. Jackson, you're back," the woman says, her voice trembling with relief. Lila kneels, her hands gentle as she checks the child's fevered brow. "We got you, little man," she says, her smile warm but fierce. The clinic's walls, peeling and patched, hold stories of families like hers. Englewood's forgotten, scraping by on nothing. Lila's one of them, raised in a duplex where dreams were luxuries. She'd fought her way to med school, scholarships barely covering the cost, and now she fights for these patients. Her teeth grind as Serena's words echo, but she shoves them down, focusing on the boy's ragged breathing. A memory hits hard. Miles, 12, his lanky frame sprawled beside her on Englewood's cracked pavement, sharing a dog-eared comic book. "We'll make it big, Lila," he'd said, his grin brighter than the streetlights. "You'll save lives. I'll build empires." She'd laughed, her heart skipping, too shy to admit she loved him. The charm necklace, his clumsy gift, had sealed their bond. Now her fingers clutch it, her resolve ironclad. She'd kissed him in that ICU, a vow to bring him back. And that bruising note, non-consistent with crash impact, screams foul play. Serena's not just a bully, she's a killer. Lila hands the toddler a sticker, her voice soft but firm. You're tougher than you look, kid. The mother's eyes shine with gratitude, and Lila's chest tightens. This is her world, saving lives, proving she's more than Serena's slurs. She moves to the next patient, an elderly man with a hacking cough, her hands swift as she checks his chart. Her phone buzzes. Jasper Reed, the ex-reporter she'd texted about the breaks. Got something, meet tonight, his message reads. Lila's pulse spikes, her mind racing. Jasper's digging could crack Serena's facade, but the risk is real. Serena's got money, power, and a secret worth killing for. A nurse calls her name, pulling her to a corner. Heard about Thornton's case, the nurse whispers, eyes darting. Cops are asking about a mechanic. Shady guy tied to some rich woman. Lila's breath catches, her fingers tightening around her stethoscope. Serena. It has to be. Her kiss on Miles's lips, that fleeting confession, didn't just love. It was a promise to fight. She nods, her voice low. Keep it quiet, I'm on it. The nurse slips away and Lila's gaze hardens. She's not just a doctor. She's a hunter now, chasing truth through Chicago's shadows. Flashbacks flood in. Miles teaching her to dance at a school talent show, his hands clumsy but warm. Their late-night talks about escaping Englewood's grind. She'd loved him then, too scared to say it, fearing his world would outgrow hers. Now he's fighting for life, and she's fighting for him. Her phone buzzes again, Jasper, impatient. Hurry, his text snaps. Lila tucks it away, her jaw set. Serena's claws are out, but Lila's are sharper. She grabs her bag, ready to meet Jasper, the clinic's hum fading behind her. She's not just saving patients tonight, she's saving Miles, and she'll tear through anyone in her way. A shadow moves outside the clinic, a figure watching from across the street, their phone screen glowing in the dark. You're wasting your time, doctor. Serena Caldwell's voice slices through the ICU corridor, her heels clicking like a countdown. Lila Jackson freezes, her hand gripping Miles Thornton's chart, the words unexplained bruising still burning in her mind. Serena's designer coat swirls as she closes the distance, her eyes glinting with a mix of desperation and disdain. Lila's jaw clenches, her pulse hammering from the clinic's grind and Jasper's text about the shady mechanic. Serena's here to bury her, but Lila's not backing down. I'm doing my job, Lila snaps, her voice low, lethal. Serena's lips curl, but there's a tremor in her stance, a crack in her polished armor. Your job? Serena scoffs, cutting Lila off before she can respond. You're a nobody playing hero. I'm sorry for what I said, okay? I was upset. Lila's eyes narrow, her teeth grinding so hard her jaw aches. Serena's apology is a snake's hiss, all charm and no heart. She remembers the kiss on Miles' lips, her confession in the quiet of the ICU, a vow to save him. Serena's words, ghetto clinic doctor, still sting, but Lila's not here to play nice. Save it, she says, her tone sharp as a scalpel. You don't get to insult me, then fake tears. Serena steps closer, her perfume choking the air. I'm trying to make peace, she says, her voice tight. Miles needs calm, not your obsession. The word lands like a slap, but Lila holds her ground, her fingers tightening on the chart. Obsession? She fires back. I'm his doctor. You're the one who can't stay out of my way. Serena's smile is razor thin, her hands twitching like she wants to strike. You're too close to him, she says, her voice dropping. It's unprofessional. Lila's chest burns, her mind flashing to the Englewood nights when Miles was her anchor, not Serena's trophy. She wants to scream that she kissed him, that her love kept him alive, but she bites it back. You don't control his care, Lila says, her voice steady despite the fire in her veins. Step off, or I'll report you for harassment. Serena's eyes widen, a flicker of fear breaking through. She's overplayed her hand, and Lila smells it. Fine, Serena hisses, her nails digging into her palms. But don't think you've won. Lila turns back to Miles' chart, her heart pounding. She flips through it, her doctor's instincts kicking in, but Serena's hovering presence feels like a blade at her back. Her fingers pause on a crumpled note tucked between pages. Brake fluid tampered. Check mechanic logs. Her breath catches her pulse a drum in her ears. The note's handwriting is rushed, scrawled by someone who knew too much. Serena's fake apology, her nervous glances, it all clicks. She's not just jealous, she's guilty. Lila's eyes flick to Miles, his chest rising faintly under the ventilator. That kiss, her whispered, "I've loved you since we were kids," wasn't just a confession, it was a lifeline. And now it's pulling her into a fight she didn't choose. She slips the note into her pocket, her resolve hardening like iron. "You're not touching him again," she mutters, too low for Serena to hear. Serena lingers, her heels clicking as she paces, her phone buzzing in her hand. "I'll be watching you," Serena says, her voice a venomous promise before she storms out, the door slamming behind her. Lila exhales, her hands trembling but steady as she grabs her phone. She texts Jasper Reed, the ex-reporter digging into the crash. "Found a note. Brake tampering. We need to talk. Now." Her fingers fly, her mind racing. The bruising, the note, Serena's panic. They're pieces of a puzzle, and Lila's determined to solve it. She glances at Miles, his face still under the harsh lights. The boy from Englewood trapped in a billionaire's body. "I'm not letting her hurt you," she says, her voice fierce. Her fingers brush the charm necklace, its weight a vow. Serena's apology was a trap, but Lila's not prey. She's a hunter now, and the truth is her weapon. A security guard lingers outside the ICU, his radio crackling with a voice Lila can't quite catch. "Stay out of it, doctor, or you'll regret it." Victor Lang's voice cuts like a knife, his towering frame blocking Lila Jackson's path in Mercy General's dimly lit hallway. His tailored suit screams money, but his cold eyes scream danger. Lila's heart slams against her ribs, her fingers clutching the crumpled note. Brake fluid tampered, she'd found in Miles Thornton's chart. Serena's fake apology still burns, her words a mask for guilt. But this man, Victor, one of Serena's business partners, is a new threat. His presence, heavy and deliberate, confirms Lila's fears. The plot to kill Miles runs deeper than she thought. Her jaw clenches, her teeth grinding as she squares her shoulders. "I'm not scared of you," she snaps, her voice sharp despite the tremor in her hands. Victor steps closer, his cologne thick, his smirk cruel. "You should be," he says, cutting her off before she can respond. "Little girls from Englewood don't play in our world." The jab hits hard, echoing Serena's venom. But Lila's not buckling. She's a doctor, a fighter, forged in Chicago's toughest streets. Her kiss on Miles' lips, her whispered vow to save him, fuels her fire. "You don't get to tell me my place," she fires back, her tone like steel. Victor's eyes narrow, his hand twitching as if to grab her. "You're digging where you shouldn't," he says, his voice low, lethal. "Thornton's crash was an accident. Drop it." Lila's pulse races, her mind flashing to the note, the bruising, Serena's panic. Victor's not just a suit, he's part of the conspiracy. She texted Jasper Reed about the brake tampering, and now this man's here trying to shut her down. Her fingers brush the charm necklace under her scrubs, Miles' gift from their childhood, a reminder of the boy she's fighting for. "Accident?" she says, her voice dripping with defiance. "Then why are you so nervous?" Victor's smirk falters, his fist clenching. "You're out of your depth, doctor," he spits, cutting her off again. "Keep pushing, and you'll end up like him." The threat lands like a punch, but Lila holds his gaze, her nails digging into her palms. She steps back, her sneakers silent, but her heart's a drum. Victor's words confirm it. Miles' crash was no fluke. Serena's not working alone. This man's her muscle, maybe her lover, and they're both neck deep in a plot to steal Thornton Tech. Lila's chest burns, her resolve hardening. She'd kissed Miles, poured her love into that fleeting moment, and she'll be damned if she lets these vipers take him. "Threaten me all you want," she says, her voice low, fierce. "I'm not stopping." Victor laughs, a cold, hollow sound, but his eyes flicker with unease. He's underestimated her, just like Serena did. Lila turns, her hands trembling but steady as she grips the chart. She needs to find Jasper to dig deeper into the brake tampering. Victor's presence means the stakes are higher, the danger closer. Her mind races, replaying childhood memories. Miles teaching her to ride a bike in Englewood's alleys. His grin brighter than any future she'd dared dream. She'd loved him then, too scared to say it. And now she's fighting for him in ways she never imagined. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. Jasper, probably with new intel. She doesn't check it yet, her eyes locked on Victor as he steps back, his smirk returning. "You'll learn, Doctor," he says, his voice a promise of pain. "Stay out of our way." He turns, his footsteps echoing down the hall. But Lila's not cowed. She's a doctor, a survivor, and Miles's lifeline. The note in her pocket, the bruising on his body, they're clues to a truth she'll tear apart. She glances at the ICU door, where Miles lies, his life hanging by a thread. "I'm coming for you," she mutters, her voice fierce, her fingers brushing the necklace. Victor's threat only sharpens her edge. A security guard watches from the end of the hall, his hand on his radio, his eyes too intent for comfort. "Dig deeper, or we're all screwed." Lila Jackson's voice snaps through her phone, her fingers gripping it so tight her knuckles ache. She's holed up in a quiet corner of Mercy General's break room, the hum of vending machines barely masking her pounding pulse. Victor Lang's threat, "You'll end up like him," still burns, but Lila's not backing down. The crumpled note in her pocket, "Brake fluid tampered, check mechanic logs," screams sabotage, and Serena Caldwell's fake apology only sharpens her suspicion. Lila's a doctor, not a detective, but Miles Thornton's life depends on her. Her kiss on his lips, her whispered vow, wasn't just love, it was a battle cry. She's fighting for the boy from Englewood, and she'll tear through Chicago's shadows to save him. Jasper Reed's voice crackles through the phone, low and urgent. "Got a lead. Thornton Tech's financials show a payment to a mechanic. Known felon. Sketchy as hell." Lila's jaw clenches, her teeth grinding. "Send me the detail," she says, her tone sharp as a scalpel. Jasper grunts, his keyboard clacking. "Already did. Check your email." Lila's fingers fly across her phone, opening a file with bank records. A $50,000 transfer from Serena's personal account to a Ray Delgado, a mechanic with a rap sheet for fraud. Her heart slams against her ribs. Serena didn't just want Miles dead, she paid for it. Lila's mind races, connecting the dots to the unexplained bruising on Miles' chart. Was he attacked before the crash? Her fingers brush the charm necklace under her scrubs. Miles' gift from their childhood, its weight fueling her fire. She slips into the ICU, her sneakers silent, and checks Miles' chart again. Her eyes lock on the bruising note, her pulse a drum. She needs more. "Jasper," she whispers into her phone, "get me hospital security footage. Night of the crash." Jasper hesitates. "That's risky, Lila. Cops are circling." She cuts him off, her voice fierce. "Do it. I'm not losing him." She hangs up, her hands trembling but steady as she adjusts Miles's IV. His face, pale under the tubes, pulls her back to Englewood, Night's sneaking comics, his laugh brighter than the streetlights. She'd kissed him in this room, her lips on his, a desperate plea to bring him back. Now she's hunting the truth to keep him alive. Lila leans close, her breath catching. "You're still in there, Miles," she says, her voice low, raw. Her lips brush his again, a soft, fleeting kiss, her heart spilling into it. "I've loved you forever. Fight for me." The monitor beeps, steady but faint, and her chest tightens. A memory hits. Miles, 16, teaching her to dance in Englewood's community center. His hands warm, his eyes lingering too long. She'd buried her love then, scared their worlds. Her poverty, his privilege, would never align. Now her fingers graze his wrist, warm but lifeless, and her resolve hardens. Serena and Victor won't win. Her phone buzzes. Jasper's email. She opens it, her eyes scanning grainy security footage stills. A man Victor's height lingers near Miles's car in the hospital lot, hours before the crash. Her breath catches, her nails digging into her palms. It's him. Victor's not just Serena's partner. He's her enforcer. Lila's mind races, piecing together the puzzle. Serena paid the mechanic. Victor set it up. But why the bruising? She grabs Miles' chart, flipping to the trauma report. Blunt force trauma. Torso. Pre-crash, it reads. Her stomach twists. Someone hit Miles before the car went off the road. Her teeth grind, fury surging. They didn't just sabotage his car. They wanted him broken. She texts Jasper again, her fingers flying. Victor was at the scene. Find Delgado's address. Jasper replies instantly. On it. Watch your back. Lila tucks her phone away, her gaze flicking to Miles. She's not just a doctor now. She's a hunter, and Serena and Victor are her prey. Another memory surfaces. Miles giving her the necklace at 12, his shy grin melting her heart. For my best friend, he'd said, but she'd wanted more, too scared to admit it. Now her kiss lingers on her lips, a vow to fight for him. She checks his vitals, her hands steady despite the storm in her chest. The bruising, the footage, the payment. They're a trail leading to Serena's guilt. Lila's phone buzzes again, a new message from Jasper. Delgado's in hiding. Cops are close. Meet me at the clinic, midnight. Her heart pounds, her resolve like iron. She's closing in, but Victor's threat looms, and Serena's claws are out. Lila glances at Miles, his chest rising faintly. I'm getting answers, she mutters, her voice fierce. She slips the chart back, her fingers brushing the necklace. She's not just saving Miles, she's tearing down the empire trying to bury him. A shadow moves outside the ICU, a guard's boots scuffing the floor, his radio crackling with a voice too low to hear. You're finished, Serena. Lila Jackson's voice trembles with fury, her phone pressed to her ear as she paces a cramped storage room at Mercy General. Her fingers clutch the brake-tampering note. Its scrawled words, check mechanic logs, burning like a fuse. Jasper Reed's voice crackles through, low and urgent. Found the jackpot, Lila. Thornton Tech's servers. Serena and Victor siphoned millions. The crash was to silence Miles. Lila's heart slams against her ribs, her teeth grinding so hard her jaw aches. Serena Caldwell, Miles' fiancée, didn't just want him dead. She and Victor Lang plotted to steal his empire. Lila's kiss on Miles' lips, her desperate plea in the ICU, wasn't just love. It was defiance against their betrayal. Her nails dig into her palms, fury surging. Jasper's words hit like punches. Emails between Serena and Victor, orders to pay Delgado for the breaks. And get this, Serena's been sleeping with 2 other investors, milking them for cash. Lila's stomach twists, her mind reeling. Serena's not just a killer, she's a predator, weaving a web of deceit to gut Thornton Tech. The unexplained bruising on Miles' chart flashes in her mind. Blunt force trauma, pre-crash. They didn't just sabotage his car, they beat him first, ensuring he'd never wake. Lila's chest burns, her resolve like steel. She'd kissed Miles, poured her heart into that fleeting touch, and now she's fighting for the boy from Englewood who trusted the wrong woman. She slams the phone down, her pulse a drum. Her fingers brush the charm necklace under her scrubs. Miles' gift from their childhood, its weight grounding her. She'd loved him since they were kids, sneaking comics under Englewood streetlights, too scared to confess. Now the truth crashes over her. Serena and Victor's betrayal, their greed, their violence. Lila's eyes dart to the door, half expecting Victor's shadow. His threat, "You'll end up like him," rings in her ears, but she's not backing down. She grabs her tablet, pulling up Jasper's email, screenshots of bank transfers, encrypted messages, and a photo of Serena with an investor. Their hands too close. Her jaw clenches, fury mingling with pain. Miles trusted Serena, loved her enough to propose, and she repaid him with a death sentence. Lila slips back to the ICU, her sneakers silent, her heart pounding. Miles lies still, tubes snaking from his arms, his face pale but hauntingly familiar. She leans close, her breath catching. "You don't deserve this," she mutters, her voice raw. Her lips brush his again, a soft, defiant kiss, her love a lifeline. "I'm bringing you back, Miles." A memory surges. Miles, 16, scribbling a poem for her in Inglewood's community center. His cheeks flushed. "You're my best friend, Lila," he'd said, but his eyes held more, a confession neither dared voice. Now her kiss is her vow to fight for him. The monitor beeps, and Lila's gaze snaps to Miles's hand. His fingers twitch, a faint tremor, like he's reaching for her. Her heart leaps, her eyes widening. "Miles?" she whispers, her voice trembling. She grabs his hand, her fingers tight, willing him to move again. Nothing. But that twitch, it's proof he's fighting, proof her kiss reached him. Her resolve hardens, her nails biting her palms. Serena and Victor's plot, millions stolen, breaks cut, Miles beaten, is a truth she can't unsee. She needs more evidence, something undeniable to bury them. Her phone buzzes. Jasper, urgent. "Delgado's talking. Meet me at the clinic. Bring the note." Lila tucks the note deeper into her pocket, her chest tight with purpose. She's not just a doctor. She's Miles' warrior and Serena's reckoning. Her eyes lock on his face, her love fierce. "I'm ending this," she says, her voice a promise. She turns, her sneakers squeaking, ready to meet Jasper. Outside the ICU, a guard's radio crackles, a voice muttering about Thornton's doctor. "You're awake, Miles!" Lila Jackson's voice breaks as she bursts into the ICU at Mercy General, her sneakers skidding on the linoleum. Her heart slams against her ribs, Victor Lang's knife attack still searing her mind, his blade grazing her sleeve, his threat to bury her like Miles. But Miles Thornton, her childhood love, the billionaire she kissed in a desperate vow, is awake. His eyes, blue and hazy, lock onto hers, his voice a hoarse rasp. "Lila," he croaks, her name a lifeline. Her chest tightens, her fingers trembling as she grabs his hand, her kiss on his lips, the one that poured her heart out, echoing in her pulse. Serena Caldwell and Victor's plot to kill him, to steal Thornton Tech, is unraveling, but Lila needs ironclad proof to end them. Her jaw clenches, her teeth grinding as she fights the urge to collapse into his arms. "You heard me," she says, her voice raw, her fingers tightening on his. Miles' grip is weak but real, his eyes searching hers. "Your kiss," he mutters, his voice cracking. "It kept me here." Lila's breath catches, her heart soaring, but Victor's attack in the black SUV outside Thornton Tech flash in her mind. Serena's still out there, and time's running out. "We're not safe yet," she says, her tone sharp. "They tried to kill you." Miles' eyes narrow, a flicker of the boy from Englewood who never backed down. "Serena?" he asks, his voice low, pained. Lila nods, her nails digging into her palms. "Her and Victor. They cut your brakes, beat you before the crash." Miles's face hardens, his hand tightening on hers. "Get me a phone," he says, his voice stronger. Lila hesitates, her doctor's instincts screaming. He's fragile, barely awake, but his eyes burn with purpose. She hands him her phone, her pulse racing. Jasper Reed, the ex-reporter, texts her. "Delgado's spilling. Got a recording. Meet at Thornton Tech. Now." Her heart leaps, her mind flashing to the bank transfers, the emails, Serena's affairs with other investors. They're close, but Victor's knife proved how far they'll go. "Stay here," she tells Miles, her voice firm. "I'm ending this." Miles grabs her wrist, his grip weak but fierce. "Not alone," he says. "We do this together." Lila sprints to Thornton Tech, her sneakers pounding, the charm necklace from Miles bouncing against her chest. Jasper meets her in a back office, his laptop open, his eyes darting. "Delgado flipped," he says, his voice low. "Recorded Serena ordering the brake job." He plays a file, Serena's voice chilling through the speakers. "Make sure he doesn't wake up. Thornton Tech's mine." Lila's stomach twists, her teeth grinding. Serena's not just a gold digger, she's a murderer. Jasper pulls up another file, an email from Serena to an investor, detailing a side deal to siphon funds, her charm used to seduce and deceive. "She played 3 guys, Jasper says, his voice grim. "All for cash." Lila's chest burns, her mind racing. The bruising on Miles' body, pre-crash trauma, flashes back. "They beat him," she says, her voice trembling with fury. "Before the crash." Jasper nods, his fingers flying across the keyboard. "Found security footage from the garage. Victor's there, landing punches. Lila's nails bite her palms, her fury white hot. She grabs the laptop, her eyes scanning the evidence. Delgado's confession, Serena's email, Victor's attack. It's enough to bury them. We need to trap her, she says, her voice sharp as a blade. Miles, patched into a secure call, rasps. Board meeting. Tomorrow. I'll be there. Lila's heart skips, her doctor's side screaming no, but his voice, steady, fierce, wins. Okay, she says, her tone ironclad. We end this together. She glances at Jasper, her resolve like steel. Her kiss on Miles's lips, her love, pulled him back, and now she's wielding it like a weapon. A memory hits. Miles, 15, teaching her to shoot hoops in Englewood's Park, his grin melting her fears. She'd loved him then, too scared to say it. Now her love's afire, burning through Serena's lies. Lila tucks the laptop under her arm, her pulse a drum. Set it up, she tells Jasper, her voice fierce. We're taking her down. Outside Thornton Tech, the black SUV's engine hums, its driver's phone buzzing with a new message. You're a murderer, Serena. Lila Jackson's voice slices through the Thornton Tech boardroom, her tablet raised like a weapon, evidence blazing on its screen. Serena Caldwell freezes, her designer heels rooted to the polished floor, her eyes wide with shock. Lila, posing as Miles Thornton's assistant, stands tall, her jaw clenched, her heart pounding from the fight to get here. Victor's knife, the black SUV, Miles' fragile awakening. Her kiss on his lips, her vow to save him, fuels her fire. Miles, leaning on a cane, steps forward, his face pale but fierce, his eyes locked on Serena. It's over, he rasps, his voice a blade. The board members gasp, their murmurs a rising tide. But Serena's laugh cuts through, sharp and desperate. You're delusional, she snaps, cutting Lila off. Both of you. Lila's teeth grind, her nails biting her palms. She'd kissed Miles, pulled him back from death, and now she's tearing down his betrayer. Play the recording, she says, her voice steady, lethal. Jasper Reed in the corner hits a key on his laptop. Serena's voice fills the room, cold and damning. Make sure he doesn't wake up. Thornton Tech's mine. Gasps erupt, chairs creaking as board members lean forward. Lila swipes her tablet, displaying emails. Serena's orders to the mechanic, Delgado, and her affairs with 2 investors, bleeding the company dry. You paid to cut his brakes, Lila says, her tone like ice. You and Victor beat him first. Serena's face drains of color, her hands trembling. Lies, she shouts, cutting Lila off again. You're a nobody doctor with a grudge. Miles steps closer, his cane thumping, his eyes burning. I heard you, he says, his voice raw. In the coma. Your voice. He's in the way. You wanted me dead. Serena's lips quiver, her composure cracking. Lila's heart races, her mind flashing to the charmed necklace under her scrubs. Miles' gift from their Englewood days when they dreamed under streetlights. She'd kissed him, her love a lifeline, and now it's her strength. We have Victor on camera, she says, her voice fierce. Punching you before the crash. Delgado confessed. Serena's eyes dart to the door, but Jasper blocks it, his security badge glinting. You're not running, he says, his tone grim. Serena lunges forward, her nails clawing at Lila. You'll pay for this, she screams, but Lila sidesteps, her sneakers squeaking, her tablet clutched tight. You paid to kill him, Lila fires back, her voice a blade. The boardroom erupts, voices shouting, but Miles raises a hand, silencing them. Arrest her, he says, his voice steady despite his weakness. Cops burst in, badges flashing, cuffs clicking as they grab Serena. She thrashes, her screams echoing. You can't prove anything, she spits. But Lila holds up the tablet, the evidence undeniable. Then Victor, cuffed in the corner, speaks, his voice low, venomous. She blackmailed me, he says, his eyes cutting to Serena. Forced me to set it up. Said she'd ruin me. The board gasps, a new shock rippling through. Lila's breath catches, her pulse hammering. Serena wasn't just a killer. She played Victor too, her web of deceit deeper than anyone knew. Serena's face twists, her scream cut off as the cops drag her out, her heels scraping the floor. Victor's hauled away, his glare promising revenge. But Lila's not shaken. Her kiss saved Miles, her fight exposed them, and now they're finished. Miles grabs Lila's hand, his grip weak but fierce, his eyes soft with gratitude. "You brought me back," he says, his voice cracking. Lila's chest tightens, her fingers brushing the necklace, their childhood bond alive in her pulse. She'd loved him since Englewood, too scared to confess until that kiss. Now they've won, but the fight's left scars. The boardroom clears, the air heavy with victory, but Lila's heart races. Serena's gone, but the SUV outside, its driver watching, lingers in her mind. A phone buzzes in Jasper's pocket, a message flashing. "They're not done. You'll rot for this, Serena." Lila Jackson's voice echoes in her own ears as she stands outside Thornton Tech, her heart pounding from the boardroom takedown. Serena Caldwell's screams still ring, her cuffs clicking as cops dragged her away. Victor Lang trailing behind, his blackmail confession. Serena forcing his hand, sealing their fate. Lila's jaw clenches, her fingers brushing the charm necklace under her scrubs. Miles Thornton's gift from their Englewood childhood. Her kiss on his lips, her desperate vow, brought him back, and now justice burns bright. Serena's empire of lies, brake tampering, embezzlement, affairs with investors, crumbles under the weight of evidence Lila and Jasper Reed uncovered. Cops swarm the Chicago headquarters, their radios crackling as reporters shout questions. "Billionaire survives murder plot," a headline screams on a nearby phone screen. Lila's chest tightens, her pulse racing as she watches Serena being shoved into a squad car, her designer heels scuffing the pavement. "You can't do this," Serena shrieks, her voice raw, but Lila's unmoved. Her teeth grind, remembering Serena's slurs, "ghetto clinic doctor," and Victor's knife at her throat. They'd beaten Miles, cut his brakes, and tried to bury him. Lila's kiss, her love, was his lifeline, and now it's their downfall. Jasper steps beside her, his security badge glinting. "Delgado's testimony sealed it," he says, his voice grim. "The mechanic named Serena and Victor. Full confession." Lila nods, her nails digging into her palms. The police found the paper trail, bank transfers, emails, footage of Victor's pre-crash attack on Miles. Every thread of their conspiracy unravels. The bruising on Miles' body explained. A brutal beating to ensure he'd never wake. Lila's fury surges, but victory steadies her. She'd fought for Miles, for the boy who shared her dreams under Englewood's streetlights and won. Miles limps out, his cane thumping, his eyes finding hers. "You did this," he says, his voice hoarse but warm. Lila's heart skips, her fingers tightening on the necklace. She'd kissed him, poured her soul into that ICU moment, and now he's here, alive. The cops haul Victor into another car, his glare cutting through the chaos. But Lila holds Miles' gaze, her resolve like iron. "They're done," she says, her voice fierce. The case is airtight. Delgado's plea, the recordings, the emails, Serena's network of deceit, her affairs to manipulate funds, collapses. Justice isn't just served, it's carved in stone. Lila's phone buzzes, a hospital alert, but her eyes stay on Miles. They've won, but the fight's left scars, and she's not done yet. A reporter's camera flashes, catching Lila and Miles, their hands brushing, a new chapter beginning. "I failed you, Lila, and I'll spend my life fixing it." Miles Thornton's voice cracks, his grip tight on his cane as he faces Lila Jackson outside Englewood's New Jackson Health Center. His eyes, shadowed from weeks in a coma, burn with guilt and resolve. Serena Caldwell's betrayal, her plot to kill him, her affairs, her embezzlement, cuts deep. But Lila's kiss on his lips, her fierce love in that ICU, pulled him back from the edge. Now he's here to make it right, not just for her, but for the community they both rose from. Lila's jaw clenches, her fingers brushing the charm necklace under her white coat, a gift from Miles when they were kids in Chicago's toughest streets. Her teeth grind, not from anger, but from the weight of his vow. She'd faced Serena's slurs, ghetto clinic doctor, and Victor's knife to save him, and now Miles is building a legacy from their shared scars. The health center's ribbon-cutting ceremony pulses with life. Inglewood's locals crowding the lot, their cheers drowning out the ghosts of Serena's screams in that boardroom bust. Lila's pulse races, her heart swelling as her mother, gray hair pulled tight, stands in the front row, her eyes shining with pride. This center, Miles' redemption, Lila's dream, offers free health care to families like hers who scrape by on nothing in Inglewood's shadows. Miles steps to the podium, his cane thumping, his voice steady despite his fragility. "This is for Englewood," he says, his eyes locking on Lila. "For Dr. Lila Jackson, who saved my life and showed me what matters." The crowd roars, kids waving handmade signs, but Lila's chest tightens, her nails digging into her palms. She'd kissed him in that sterile ICU, poured her soul into that desperate act, and now he's honoring her with more than words. "Lila's my anchor," Miles says, his voice raw, carrying over the crowd. "She fought for me when I was blind to Serena's lies. This center is her vision, our promise to you." The crowd erupts again, mothers hugging kids, elders nodding, and Lila's throat burns. She remembers Englewood nights, Miles sneaking her candy from his dad's store, their laughter louder than the sirens. She'd loved him then, too scared to confess, fearing their worlds, her rundown duplex, his gated mansion, would never align. Now her kiss saved him, and this center is their vow to heal more than just his wounds. She steps beside him, her voice firm, fierce. "This is for us," she says, her eyes sweeping the crowd. "For every family who's been overlooked, who deserves a chance to thrive." Her mother's tears fall, her pride a beacon, and Lila's heart leaps, her resolve like steel. Miles grabs her hand, his grip strong despite his weakness. "I was a fool," he says, his voice low, "for her alone. Trusted Serena, ignored you. Never again." Lila's breath catches, her fingers tightening on the necklace, its weight a reminder of their childhood promises. She'd faced Victor's blade, Serena's venom, and won, not just for Miles, but for Englewood. "You're making it right," she says, her tone ironclad. "For all of us." Miles's eyes soften, but his jaw sets, his guilt channeling into action. He's poured millions into the center, hiring doctors, stocking clinics, ensuring no family goes without care. Lila's dream, born in Englewood's struggle, is alive, its walls already buzzing with patients, kids getting checkups, elders finding relief. Jasper Reed nearby adjusts his security badge, his eyes scanning the crowd. "You two pulled it off," he says, his voice grim but proud. Lila shakes her head, her gaze on Miles. "We did." Jasper's evidence, Delgado's confession, Serena's emails, Victor's attack footage, brought the conspirators down, but this center is their true victory. A memory surges. Miles, 12, slipping the necklace into her hand under a flickering streetlight, his shy grin melting her heart. "For my best friend," he'd said, but she'd wanted more, too scared to confess. Now his hand in hers feels like home, their shared fight forging something unbreakable. Lila steps forward, addressing the crowd, her voice clear, fierce. "This center's for you," she says, her eyes meeting her mother's, then the kids, the neighbors. "For every fight we've won, every dream we've held." The crowd cheers, their voices a chorus of hope, and Lila's chest swells. She's not just a doctor, she's a warrior who turned pain into purpose. Miles pulls her close, his cane steady, his voice soft but resolute. "You saved me, Lila," he says, his breath warm on her cheek, "and now we're saving them." Her heart races, that ICU kiss flashing in her mind, a vow that sparked this future. The center's hum grows, nurses bustling, kids laughing, Inglewood breathing anew. But as the crowd thins, Lila's pulse quickens. That black SUV from Thornton Tech, its driver watching, lingers in her mind. Serena's gone, Victor's cuffed, but shadows remain. Miles' hand squeezes hers, his eyes fierce. "Whatever's next," he says, his voice a promise, "we face it together." A child's laughter echoes from the center, a spark of hope cutting through the dusk. "You're my home, Lila." Miles Thornton's voice cracks, his knees hitting the rooftop floor as he kneels. his eyes blazing with a fire that cuts through Chicago's dusk. Lila Jackson's heart slams against her ribs, her fingers clutching the charm necklace under her white coat, a gift from Miles when they were kids in Englewood's gritty streets. Her kiss on his lips, that desperate ICU vow, yanked him back from a coma, and now he's here, holding a ring etched with their childhood initials. Serena Caldwell and Victor Lang's plot, brake tampering, beatings, embezzlement, lies in ruins. Their arrests of victory, Lila clawed from the jaws of betrayal. Her jaw clenches, her teeth grinding, not from fear but from the weight of his love. She'd faced knives, slurs, and lies to save him, and now they're rewriting their story. Say yes, Miles says, his voice raw, his cane tossed aside, his hands trembling but strong. Lila's breath catches, her nails digging into her palms. She'd loved him since they were 12, sneaking comics under Englewood streetlights, too scared to confess, fearing their worlds. Her poverty, his privilege, would shatter them. Her kiss in that sterile ICU, her whispered, "I've loved you forever," was a lifeline that woke him. Now his eyes hold the same spark she'd seen in their youth, when they'd raced through alleys, dreaming of futures beyond the grind. "Yes," she says, her voice fierce, trembling with a joy she can't contain. "Always, Miles." He slides the ring onto her finger, his touch electric, and pulls her close, his lips crashing into hers. The kiss is fire, deeper than the one that saved him, a vow forged in every battle they've fought. Her chest burns, her fingers tangling in his shirt, the necklace pressed between them like a heartbeat. She pulls back, her eyes locked on his, her pulse a drum. "No more hiding," she says, her voice steady despite the storm in her heart. Miles' forehead rests on hers, his grin soft but unyielding. "Never again," he says, his tone ironclad. A memory surges. Miles, 15, spinning her in a clumsy dance at Englewood's community center, his hands warm, his eyes saying what words couldn't. She'd buried her love then, terrified their worlds would never align. Now his ring glints on her finger, their initials a promise kept. The rooftop fades, their world shrinking to this moment, but the weight of their victory, Serena's cuffs, Victor's confession, grounds her. Her kiss didn't just save him, it broke an empire of lies. Months later, their wedding unfolds in a Southside park, Englewood's pulse alive around them. Lila glides down the aisle, her ivory gown shimmering, the charm necklace tucked beneath, a private vow. Miles waits, his tux framing the boy who'd carved their initials into a park bench. Her mother, gray hair braided tight, wipes tears from the front row, her pride brighter than the crowd's cheers. Thornton Tech's polished suits mingle with Englewood's locals, kids from the community center waving handmade signs. The Jackson Health Center, Miles' gift to Lila's dream, thrives nearby, its clinics buzzing with families who once had nothing. Lila's pulse races, her fingers brushing the ring as they say their vows. "I choose you," she says, her voice clear, fierce. "Always," Miles echoes, his eyes soft but resolute. The crowd erupts as they kiss, but Lila hears only his heartbeat, steady as her own, a rhythm born in that ICU moment when her lips met his. They dance under the stars, her head on his chest, the music a soft undercurrent. "No more pain," she murmurs, her voice raw with hope. Miles's arms tighten, his voice a vow. "No more shadows." Serena's schemes, her affairs with investors, her orders to cut Miles's brakes, Victor's fists, lie buried, crushed by Lila's fight and Jasper Reed's evidence. The health center's hum carries on, kids laughing, families healing. Englewood rising from its scars. Lila's mother pulls her close, her voice thick. "You changed everything, baby." Lila shakes her head, her eyes on Miles, swaying with her. "We did," she says, her tone fierce. Her kiss, her love sparked this victory, but their shared strength built this future. A memory flashes. Miles, 12, slipping the necklace into her hand, his shy grin melting her heart. "For my best friend," he'd said, but she'd wanted more, too scared to confess. Now her ring shines, their initials eternal. They slip away from the crowd hand in hand, the stars above echoing their childhood nights. "You're my everything," Miles says, his voice soft, fierce. Lila's chest tightens, her fingers brushing the necklace. "And you're mine," she says, her tone a promise. Their love, forged in Englewood's struggle, tested by betrayal, is unbreakable. The health center's lights glow in the distance, a beacon of their legacy, free care for those who need it most, a dream Lila carried since she was a girl watching her mother scrape by. But as they laugh, a shadow lingers. A black SUV idles at the park's edge, its driver's phone glowing with a new message. Lila's pulse quickens, her hand squeezing Miles. They've conquered Serena, Victor, and their web of lies, but the world's never short of threats. She meets his gaze, her resolve like steel. "We're ready," she says, her voice fierce, unwavering. Miles nods, his grin mirroring hers, the boy from Englewood who'd always had her back. Their love, their fight, their legacy. It's a fire no one can extinguish. The stars burn bright, a testament to their bond, as Englewood's heartbeat pulses stronger than ever. Lila and Miles' story proves that true love and relentless integrity can shatter betrayal and overcome every barrier, class, race, or greed. Their journey from a desperate kiss in a Chicago ICU to a health center that lifts Englewood's forgotten shows that hope rises from the ashes of pain. What moved you most about their fight? Have you ever faced a moment where love or justice changed everything? Drop your thoughts and stories in the comments below. We're dying to hear them. Thank you for joining us on this heart-pounding ride. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more tales of courage and love. See you at the next one.